Alright guys, in today's video we have a pretty significant update when it comes to PlayStation 5 pre-orders to go over and talk about. I know many of you, just like myself, are eagerly anticipating the announcement from Sony, and it seems as though we might be getting it very soon. And so we're going to talk about that. We're also talking about a PlayStation Plus survey that Sony apparently has sent out ahead of the PlayStation 5 launch. And they're looking to improve the service. They're looking for feedback. And the timing of this is very interesting because we are hearing rumors and reports that Microsoft is potentially looking to remove the multiplayer paywall from the Xbox platform. It sounds kind of unbelievable, but it's coming from some pretty reliable sources. And so, yeah, obviously if that happens, Sony's going to have to do something and respond when it comes to PlayStation Plus. So this is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. If you could do me a big favor, make sure you hit the like button to help it out. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content, and hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified immediately anytime a new video goes live. But starting here with the PlayStation 5 pre-orders, apparently demo stations are actually popping up in retail stores. And this is a very good indicator that Sony will be talking about pre-orders very soon. So it says here what looks like a demo station for the PlayStation 5 has been spotted in a UK shop. The shop in question appears to be a branch of Curry's PC World, as far as we can tell. And the image is from Iron Core Game on Twitter. Now I'm going to put this image up so you can see it. And it goes on to say here, the next-gen console itself is not on display yet, but everything is clearly in place. The stall shares the same white, blue, and black color scheme as the PS5, and there are two controller docks. In other words, shoppers may not have to wait long until they can get their hands on the DualSense. It's a potentially exciting find because it suggests that Sony's plans are moving ahead at pace. The PS5 is still set to launch holiday 2020, and so we're getting to a point where the company will want to start promoting the system in public spaces. Of course, this also means that pre-orders could open soon. Sony recently stated that it won't open pre-orders with no warning, so if this really is happening, you can expect some kind of announcement to take place first. And so, yeah, I'm looking at this image, and there's no mistaking that this is certainly a demo station that is being set up for the PlayStation 5. The color scheme alone gives it away. I mean, the fact that it's missing the console also kind of tells you something, but it seems as though they're just waiting to actually get the console in and the DualSense controllers. And I think it looks pretty cool, actually. They're definitely trying to simulate a little living room setup here to get people to feel exactly what it's going to be like. And that's a really good way to sell a home console, right? That's going to go underneath your entertainment center. But this is very significant because, again, not only does it show that everything is going ahead as planned when it comes to the PlayStation 5, I find that interesting in it of itself, because if you go back a couple of months, there was all these reports that Sony's having all these troubles with manufacturing and production and components, and it's overheating and all this stuff that you can just clearly tell that Sony didn't run into any of these issues, and if they did, they weren't issues for very long. Everything is proceeding as planned, but obviously this is a very big indicator that pre-orders will be opening up sooner rather than later. Why else would they want people to actually try out the PlayStation 5? They want people to do that so that way they can walk up to the counter and say, yeah, I want to put a pre-order on the PlayStation 5 because it's awesome, right? So not only that, but it seems as though Sony is, well, I don't think they intended to reveal this, but they're going to be restricting a one per person rule when it comes to PlayStation 5 pre-orders, which frankly, I think is great news because it's going to stop people from walking away with 10 consoles just to resell them for double the price. We don't like it when that happens, obviously. It's not cool at all. And so it's nice to see that Sony's going to put some measures in place to prevent people from doing that. It says here, an error message added to the source code of PlayStation's official store page suggests that PS5 pre-orders will be restricted to one per person. An eagle-eyed Reset error member dug into the website's JavaScript and found the disclaimer for customers attempting to purchase more than one system at a time. The error reads, you can only purchase one version of the PS5 console, disc, or digital. You have already added one PS5 console to your cart. Presumably, this code is an example of the company preparing to release PS5 pre-orders in the near future. And so, as of right now, we still don't have the price, we still don't have the release date. and there is still plenty of time for them to announce this. But I have heard, and this is not a rumor, so don't take it that way. It's just something I heard somebody say that honestly does kind of make sense to me. I heard that Sony may be planning to not put pre-orders up the day of the Xbox show this Thursday, but within that same time frame. Maybe it could be tomorrow, maybe it could be Thursday, the day of the actual Xbox show, or it could be Friday, the day after, where Sony is going to announce that next week pre-orders will go live. Now, again, we have to understand that this does not necessarily mean, if this were to happen, that we're going to know the price or the release date. Sony, or Jim Ryan, I should say, did make it clear that they are willing to put the console up for pre-order without actually revealing this information. I mean, maybe we could see them announce the pre-orders and then the release date, and then we'll have a day, maybe next week, when it will go live. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but we do have some very clear signs here that Sony is planning to talk about pre-orders very soon. This is why they're doing this. Now, we know that Microsoft, because they kind of made this clear, they don't have any plans to talk about pre-orders or pricing or the console really at all at this event. And this could be another reason why Sony might have decided, you know what, maybe now we need to announce it. I mean, they certainly have a plan in place. Maybe this has been their plan the whole time. They want to do it when Microsoft is trying to make their big splash. Another reason they might want to do this is you have to imagine that there is actually some type of advantage to putting your console up for pre-order first, even if there is no price. The reason why I say this is because I'm assuming there's at least some people out there that they don't care which console they get. They're just going to get whichever one they can get their hands on first. And that may come in the form of whichever one they can pre-order first. And that may also come in the form of whichever one releases first, right? There are some people who do function like that, and they just don't care. They want whatever's going to be available soonest. And when it comes to pre-orders, that's a good way for Sony to possibly secure more pre-orders. And if they were to do it at around this time when all the talk is around Xbox, I gotta say, it would be a pretty, I guess you could say, cheeky thing for Sony to do, to kind of steal a little bit of Microsoft's thunder in that way, maybe in a big way, depending. So I had to take some time to update you guys when it comes to PlayStation 5 pre-orders, because I know many of you are very eager to get your pre-order in and secure one. So, keep your eyes peeled. It seems as though we're gonna be hearing something within the next couple of weeks. But to finish this video, we're talking about this survey that Sony apparently put out. It says here, Sony Interactive Entertainment has currently started rolling out a PS Plus survey to gauge how to improve the service ahead of the PS5 launch this holiday season. It's probably worth checking your inbox to see if you've received the survey yourself and take part in it. After all, PS Plus is likely to form a major part of the PlayStation 5 strategy moving forward, so it's worth helping to shape Sony's premium subscription service. It's also worth noting that the survey comes following news that Microsoft could be looking to ditch Xbox Live, as it's no longer offering 12-month subscriptions to the service. This has resulted in speculation that the format holder perhaps is looking to repackage Xbox Live or phase it out completely ahead of the next generation Xbox launch. It also follows confirmation that production of the next generation Xbox, or not next generation Xbox, that the Xbox One X has actually been discontinued. With this in mind, it could be that Sony is looking to perhaps revamp PlayStation Plus in some shape or form, although we won't know until they start talking about it. And so if you look at this here, it's definitely a survey. I mean, it says it right there. Got 5 minutes to spare. It'll help us improve PlayStation Plus, and you may even get a warm, fuzzy feeling. That is some really bizarre wording, so unless maybe this is fake, but it doesn't seem like it is. Very strange wording right there. If you have a few minutes to spare, please tell us about your experience. The survey should take no longer than 5 minutes, less than a standard half of FIFA. So yeah, I don't think I've received this. I'll be obviously looking to see if I'll be getting it, because I would like to fill it out. I would be interested to know what the questions of this survey would actually entail. I have to imagine they're pretty significant, but yeah, I had to take time to mention this because the timing of it is very interesting. We know that apparently Microsoft is planning to do something, at least with the 12-month subscription of Xbox Live. And so I don't really know what to make of this, guys. I'm going to be interested to see what you have to say. Like, do you think Microsoft may actually remove Xbox Live, that paywall? I've heard a bunch of different theories or reasoning. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, would Microsoft really be willing to just leave all that money on the table and just not take that money, right? It doesn't really make much business sense. But if you look at their overarching plan, right? You look at the plan that they have in place with Game Pass and how they're all about trying to remove barriers and they're all about trying to get everybody in. That does make sense. That does make sense. Now, from a business side of things, I mean, all I can see is that they would basically be leaving a lot of money on the table. What I will tell you is that if this does actually come true, and it's worth noting that a pretty well-known Xbox insider who goes by the name Clobriel, I believe it was either on a Reset Era forum or possibly on Twitter, but in one of these spaces, they went on record saying that it's not a matter of if they're going to remove the multiplayer paywall, it's a matter of when. Now, that's pretty significant because this individual has been known to have contacts within Microsoft. They've been correct about things in the past. So I don't know, guys, we could see a situation where Microsoft is actually going to remove the multiplayer paywall. They're going to remove Xbox Live. And that would kind of put a, I don't say kind of, that would for sure put a tremendous amount of pressure on Sony to do something and respond, because that announcement, in my opinion, would be a mic drop moment for Microsoft. That would be a pretty big deal. And so Sony would be left to do one of two things. They could either try to really pump up the value of PlayStation Plus to justify it, and, you know, it would justify them blocking multiplayer behind it, which, you know, preferably that's not what we would want. If Microsoft were to do this, I think preferably what we would all want is for Sony to follow suit and say, okay, you know what, we're going to remove that barrier as well. But something tells me that even if Microsoft were to do this, Sony is absolutely not going to follow them. Instead, they're probably going to try to find ways to up the value. That, again, would explain why they're putting out this survey, and why we're hearing about it at the same time that we're hearing rumors that Microsoft is getting ready to do this. I mean, if you talk about them adding value, I don't mean to keep going on here, but it's just hard not to speculate. Naturally, you think they could add more games each month. That would inherently up the value for, you know, people who are subscribed. But you also think about what they could do with PlayStation Now. Either way, if this does happen, they're going to have to do something pretty dramatic, or drastic, I should say, because Microsoft announcing no more multiplayer paywall, that's going to be a huge announcement if it does happen. But we have to wait to see. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. It did run a little bit longer than I intended, but I had a lot to say. So let me know your thoughts about all this down in the comments below. What do you think about this pre-order update and this info we're going over? Do you think there's a chance Sony may decide to drop pre-orders at or around the time, you know, Microsoft is trying to make their big splash, or do you think it's going to come later? And what do you think about this survey? Do you think Microsoft may actually be removing the multiplayer paywall? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.